Donald Trump has vowed to chart a new course for the United States. The incoming U.S. president's plans and policies are seemingly having a ripple effect. These effects are not just limited to the boundaries of the United States. Canada, the next door neighbor, is feeling the heat. Donald Trump has vowed to impose 25% tariffs on Canada. Now, reports are saying that the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is likely to announce his resignation. The move follows a growing leadership crisis within his Liberal Party and a plummeting popularity nationwide. Trudeau is facing intense pressure amid record inflation, a housing crisis, rising food prices, and voter fatigue. Recent polls show the Liberal Party at a record low of 16% support, the worst pre-election performance in over a century. The move follows a growing leadership crisis within his Liberal Party and plummeting popularity nationwide. Trudeau is facing intense pressure amid record inflation, a housing crisis, and high food prices as well. Now, in October 24th, backbench Liberal MP signed a letter urging him to step down, fearing a massive electoral loss in next year's federal election. The situation deteriorated further in December with the shock resignation of Deputy Prime Minister. Her exit was a direct rebuke to Trudeau's ability to handle major challenges, including the growing economic pressure from Donald Trump's America First policies. Trudeau's attempts to manage relations with the U.S. president-elect have also come under scrutiny. After meeting with Trump to promote border security and trade, Trump publicly mocked him, referring to him as the governor of Canada. Trump also has more than once referred to the neighboring country as the 51st state of the United States. The resignation of Freeland and the withdrawal of support from the New Democratic Party have left Trudeau isolated and his government on shaky ground. Opposition is calling for an immediate election, while many expect by spring. Trudeau, the eldest son of former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, once symbolized stable progressive leadership. Now his resignation could end nearly a decade in power as he struggles to navigate the biggest crises of his political career. Journalist and author of Blood for Blood, 50 Years of the Global Khalistan Project. He's live joining us from Ottawa, Canada. Thank you so much for joining us on WION Terry. Why is Justin Trudeau in so much trouble?
Well, I guess there are three reasons: the loss of confidence among voters in general, loss of confidence by his own MPs, who, as you pointed out, have rebelled against his leadership. They're not overwhelming numbers, but they're getting more numbers every day. And thirdly, because he lost the confidence of his most important cabinet minister, Chrystia Freeland, and her resignation was a slap in the face, a biting resignation letter accusing him of engaging in political gimmickry with little handout Christmas time checks, $250 to sort of bribe the voters. She thought that was ridiculous, and she said so. And so once you lose that much confidence, well, your time is up.
Yeah, that's so true. And what about Canada-U.S. relations moving forward, considering the fact that they had that interesting meeting with President-elect Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, and Donald Trump talking about Canada being the 51st state and whatnot, but also these tariffs that President-elect Trump has threatened to impose on Canada if the immigration situation isn't resolved?
The Canadians have already taken whatever action they can with respect to the border to try to make the case to the American incoming administration. Look, we've already done what you wanted us to do. You wanted us to harden the border to immigrants flooding across the border into the United States. Well, number one, they're not. And number two, you want us to stop drugs flooding across the border into the United States. Well, look, we've got helicopters, we've got barbed wire, we've got guards everywhere. We're throwing another $1 billion into protecting the border. So we've done what you wanted us to do. Now, the Americans can always argue, well, yeah, but that spending was already in the pipeline. It's not going to. If they want to make a fuss about it, then you can. And of course, they're less likely to make a fuss about it if there is a conservative administration in Ottawa and they don't have to deal with Justin Trudeau. So at the moment, it's a difficult situation for any incoming leader. They may wish that Trudeau announces his resignation as leader, but says that he's going to stay on until as prime minister until a replacement is found, which could take months, so that he can handle the difficult operation, delicate diplomacy with the incoming American administration, and the new leader can take over after that rather than before.
And just generally for international viewers and for many of us who aren't familiar with Canadian politics, what does this possible exit of Trudeau mean for the Liberals in general, given the sustained attacks from the opposition and allies at this point?
Well, arguably, it doesn't make much difference because he's powerless to change the Liberals' fortunes. The voters have plainly had it with Trudeau. They had it with him months ago. He's now even the most generous polls have him 20 points behind. He is toast. And so I don't think it would make very much difference to the fortunes of the party as a whole, because the voters seem to have decided, okay, it's time for a change. We're going to sweep all the Liberals out of power, not just the Prime Minister. This isn't just a personal thing about Justin Trudeau, although, of course, that is the leading factor. It's also the fact that the Canadian voters are fed up with the Liberals, are fed up with scandals, they're fed up with inflation, the price of groceries, just like voters everywhere else. It's time to throw the bums out. That's what the voters seem determined to do, regardless of what happens in the leadership race going forward in the next 2 weeks.
All right, well, we'll be watching very closely. Terry Milewski, thank you so much for joining us on WION. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.